What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to 5 ways British and American families are very different. I've been wanting to explore this topic for a while now, but unfortunately there doesn't seem to be many videos made about British versus American families. You would think this would be a topic that would be covered a little bit more, but unfortunately that doesn't seem to be the case. The same with British versus American parenting. That's another topic that I've been interested in checking out, but I haven't really been able to find many videos about. So if you guys know of videos about either of these two topics, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to find some good videos I could check out to learn more about both British and American families and British versus American parents. So let me know if you guys know of any videos like that in the comments. But very interested in checking this topic out. Don't really know what to expect. But before we get started, guys, I want to let you guys know that because of yesterday's video, I actually tried to eat like the British girl in that video. So when I ate dinner last night, I actually tried to use a fork in my left hand and a knife in my right hand. And to say that was a disaster for me would be an understatement. I have definitely learned that I have no coordination with my left hand at all. Like, I'm the type of person, my left hand is basically used to balance something that I'm already doing with my right hand, or to maybe hold something for a period of time or something like that. Otherwise, like, I literally just, for some reason, I don't know why that is. You know, some people are, what's that word? Ambidextrous. Some people are very ambidextrous where they can use both the left and right hand. I'm like the exact opposite of that on an extreme level. Like, I literally barely can use my left hand at all. It's just, I don't know why that is. It's just, maybe it's because I wasn't raised to really do a lot with my left hand, and I just never got used to it. Maybe it's something that I would get used to over time, but wow. That was really hard. It was really hard trying to eat with my left hand in that way, especially trying to turn the fork upside down, and it just did not work at all. But I just thought I'd give you guys an update on that if you were interested, if I was going to try to eat that way, like I said I was going to do in that video. But anyways, guys, that's not what this video is about. This video is about British versus American families and how our families tend to be different on either side of the pond. So let's just go ahead and dive in and check out 5 ways British and American families are very different.
Back up the truck, right? America has a bigger population. It has more households in general, so this makes sense. Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to family. You know, there's an old saying in the English language, families, you can't live with them, and there are studies to back me up on that. But as I discussed recently with patrons on my secret stream, there are various nuanced differences between how family life plays out in Britain and America. And as I said to my patrons last Friday, I've experienced the best and the worst of both sides of the coin. And so today, at the risk of alienating everyone in my families, I'm going to lay out some of my observations. Here are 5 ways that British and American families are very different. I'm not sure if it's because I'd already seen the extra large size of America's roads and cars and land and grocery stores and everything, but my initial impression was that American family sizes were bigger than those of Britain. And, you know, if you don't believe me, watch the 1990 documentary Home Alone. It just felt like my wife's relatives were coming from all angles, you know, not in attack formation, it's not the 18th century, but their great numbers instilled in me this kind of belief that American households were on average made up of more people than your British equivalents. But was there any truth to this matter? It's not that British families don't have multiple children. I myself have 2 siblings. Well, it turns out there is no ignoring the facts. Over the last 10 years, the average number of person per UK household was between 2.3 and 2.4. In that same time period, the average number of people in an American household has roughly floated between 2.5 and 2.6 people. So that means that on average, American households have about 1/5 of a person more than British households, which is about the size of a leg. What's going on, America?
Huh.
Well, one thing that I've noticed that might accommodate a slight increase in family size is the relatively large size of American houses, which, as I pointed out in the video 2 years ago, are just bigger, which, you know, might account for these. My
Yeah,
family,
I know you guys tend to have smaller houses on average. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions and, whatever. And it depends on probably where you live within the UK. If you're in a big city versus a small village. But on average, I watched a video a while back about that. And it seemed like the average square foot was it like 800 square feet, or I don't remember exactly, something like that. And I know in the US it's something like 2,000 square feet is like the average. My house here is like, what is this, about 1,900 square feet, about 2,000, something like that. So I think that might be accurate. But anyways, that's interesting. So I wonder what that adds up to on like a yearly basis, how much our population is growing in the US versus the UK. Because obviously that would mean our population, because we have a slightly larger family on average, it means that our population would grow a little bit faster, I guess, than in the UK. I mean, we've already got a ton of people here, so I guess that's going to add up pretty quickly. But that's really not that big a difference. What was it, 2.3, 2.4 in the UK versus 2.5, 2.6 in the US? I mean, that's just like your average family has. How does that work, actually? I guess out of every, would that be out of every like 5 or 6 families, you generally have like an extra 1 or 2 kids in that amount of families? That's what I think that would represent. Let me know in the comments if you understand exactly what that would look like at scale, if you understand what I'm saying.
it might not be typical, but when I was growing up in Britain, we had parties at our house for 2 occasions, and those 2 occasions were Christmas and birthdays. For Christmas, it would just be a small gathering of humans that could fit inside our English living room. And for birthdays, and we're particularly talking about childhood birthdays, it would usually be about 6 kids, one of whom was inevitably thrown out for disruptive behaviour, forcing the other 5 to go on without me. And they'd all play Pass the Parcel, which is a game that I don't hear too many Americans talking about.
Pass the Parcel?
And that was about it for me.
What is Pass the Parcel? I mean, a parcel is like a piece of mail, or maybe it's a package. So I guess that makes sense. But what would Pass the Parcel be? I mean, I understand. I mean, it's like you're throwing a package to each other, but like, what is the game exactly?
But in America, families will house huge parties for all manner of occasions. So 25 people will show up to Christmas meals, Thanksgiving meals, 4th of July stuff, birthdays, graduation open house parties. I did 3 of those in my first year, and I still don't know who those people are. And the one that really stands out for me personally is the welcome party that I was given. When I came to Indiana in 2007, I was just visiting, and I thought I'll meet the mum and the dad for the second time, I'll meet the brother and sister, maybe pet a dog or 2. No, I got the whole works, as they say. There were aunts and uncles and granddads and grandmothers and cousins and cousins of cousins.
True.
And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, you're an introvert. That must have been hell. But here's the thing. One of the most challenging things about being an introvert is initiating the conversation. And because I couldn't get a word in edgeways, I didn't have to go through that. So everyone's a winner.
I know what he's talking about there. I'm sort of an introvert myself. Not that I don't socialize with people or anything like that. It's just that most of you guys probably know what the difference between introversion and extroversion is. It's just simply an extrovert, which are the majority of people in the population. I think it's like 75% of people, maybe something like that, are extroverts and 25% are introverts. I could be a little bit off on the numbers. It's something like that. Most people are extroverts. And extroverts generally get their energy from being around people. So the more people they're at a big party, and they will get energized from that. And as the night goes on, they might actually have more energy than they started with. An introvert is the type of person that gets their energy from being alone. So they need time. When they go to that party, for example, that's going to wear them out. They need to go home and sit down and read a book by themselves or something like that. The introvert is the person that's more likely to be sitting there reading a book, or maybe just going on a nature hike by themselves and things like that. That's generally me. So I will socialize with people, but then I need some time to kind of be with my own thoughts and whatnot. But that's not what this video is about. But he's absolutely right about that. I don't know. Obviously, I'm sure that changes depending on the family in the UK. But would you say he's right in the fact that you guys don't tend to have as many large family get-togethers as maybe people in America do? My family is a little smaller than my wife's family, and so there just wasn't as much opportunity to have large gatherings as I got older. When I was younger, there were much more opportunity because more of my family were alive. My grandparents, my great grandparents, lots of different, cousins and blah, blah, blah. But as time went on, so many passed away and whatnot that, for example, my grandma being the matriarch of my family, she passed away and it kind of left a hole that wasn't really filled. And so we just, family get togethers kind of took a back seat. With my wife's family, though, my goodness, she had a ton of family, right? Still does. And so they, it's true. Like, it's not just like birthdays and Christmases, but, just a random Saturday in any month. There might be like a cookout where the family gets together and whatnot and just goes and has a meal and hangs out. So let me know, guys, is he accurate on that? You guys don't generally have these types of family get-togethers as much as we do in the U.S.?
A moment ago, I touched upon graduation open house parties. What I didn't mention is that we do have graduation parties in the UK. It's just that the word graduation usually refers only to the commencement of university college.
Heard that.
Whereas in America, it seems like families will hold a graduation party for various levels of the educational pyramid.
Yeah.
So I've celebrated everything from a distant cousin's graduation from elementary school all the way through to university. And it's all good. You normally give them a card with some money in it, even though you needed that yourself. And presumably they put it toward their first car, not the elementary kids. Or the high school kids come to that. I don't know what they spend it on. All this to say that American families place a great deal of emphasis on the educational excellence of their kids. Now, I'm not saying this doesn't happen in Britain. Of course it does. I just think the idea of pushing their kids to excel academically is, generally speaking, more prominent in the United States. This doesn't just apply to grades, it's things like extracurricular activities. It seems like it's a really big thing here for kids to be on a sports team or to be in band or
Very much so.
do, what was it called? Yes, colour guard. That's where you throw the sticks and the flags in the air and you catch them in ways that I can't even comprehend. And American families are super supportive of this. Many of them will go and watch their kids perform, and I've even been to a few myself. And what can you say at the end of such an event? Oh, your flag throwing skills were really impressive, presumably. I mean, I don't know the rules. The point is, whether we're talking about football or marching band or honour society, it seems to me that a kid's extracurricular activities play a larger role in the dynamics of an American family as opposed to a British one. I sort of hate this bit because I don't have any data to back it up. It's just all feeling. So instead, let's talk about something for which I do have some numbers.
So, I definitely, I can't say how accurate he is about you guys in the UK. You'll have to tell me in the comments, guys. Do you feel like, well, I will say one thing. I know that you guys generally don't take your college level sports as seriously as we do in America. I know that for a fact. I've seen that taught about in the comments. I know that you guys just, like, I've seen people say that, at a college game, families may not even go see the games, for example, and in the stands there just won't be a lot of people there or anything. It's just not something you guys take as seriously. Whereas in America, college games and even high school games, if you go, when we have a high school football game here, I mean, it's the real deal, guys. Everybody in town is going basically, and supporting that team. But it's more than supporting that team. You're supporting the individual students in the high school that you play. And the stands be just as full as you'd see at a professional game. I mean, it's really serious. Even in like Little League, I mean, it's true. Like I can't wait for my daughter to get into like some sort of sport. Maybe, what you guys call football, soccer here. That's what we're thinking about getting her into, or gymnastics or whatever. But like, I'll be going to every single event. And even if we have to travel, like we're going to take that seriously. And I do think we do take that seriously in America. But again, I don't know. Outside of the college thing, I know you guys don't take it seriously, but I'm not sure how you would take high school sports and whatnot. Let me know in the comments. But as for the graduation thing, absolutely right. I actually had a 5th grade graduation, guys. Like a full-on, cap and gown, like doing the whole, like the same as we do in high school. It's like the full-on, like they call your name up, you get a diploma, and like And it's just like, as an adult, you look at it as like, it's not really that big a deal. But, to the kid in the moment, it's just like, it's a big moment for them. It makes them feel like they accomplished something really big. They're going from being this little kid in elementary school to being a big kid in middle school. It's what we would call it here. We call it middle school, to go into like the 6th grade. And so, for the kid, it's just it's a moment. Like, it just makes them feel I guess it's a break. It's a break. It's a break in time. It's like, it's kind of like you're going from a kid to being a young man or a young woman in a way. And I think that's what that symbolizes in a way. But anyways, let's continue, guys.
One of my patrons, Jeff, asked me about multi-generational households. What's a multi-generational household, Lawrence? Well, typically speaking, it's a household in which 3 or more generations of family members live together. So it might be some grandparents, parents, and kids. So an example of this would be Charlie Bucket's house in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah.
He lives with his mum and 4 grandparents who, frankly, aren't pulling their weight. But in each country, what percentage of households have this kind of multi-generational makeup? Well, in Britain, the Office for National Statistics suggests that 419,000 households are considered multi-generational.
And so if you think about that, I mean, that's a pretty large population, because you're going to have multi-generational households. I mean, is there like 60 million people in the UK? I might be off on that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it seems like it's something like that. And so when you think of you're in a multi-generation household, it's probably going to average like, I don't know, what's going to average 5, 6 people? That's millions of people. Wow.
As a percentage of all the households in Britain, those account for about 1.5%.
So not huge, but...
In America, it's about 4 million households.
Really?
Whoa, back up the truck, right? America has a bigger population. It has more households in general, so this makes sense. But even when you do account for that differential, 4 million households is nonetheless 3.2%.
Wow, really?
Of all American households.
That's surprising
to me.
to
The answer to your question, Jeff, is that it appears that American households are twice as likely to be multi-generational.
Interesting. I would have expected it.
From that? I don't know, but it's an interesting fact.
I appreciate that. I kind of, sometimes I wish we had that more. I don't know if you guys wish you had that more in the UK, but having a grandparent or multiple grandparents live in the house with you when you have young kids how what a blessing that would be. As someone who my mom is the only parent I have left. My dad's long been passed away, and I have no grandparents left. So I literally have, once my mom's gone, I'll have no one basically older than me, and in my family. And as I've gotten older and saw, I can just imagine the blessing would be to just be the type of person that you could leave your child with their grandparent, like at any time, or on a regular basis, to be able to go out on a date night, or just to have, whatever you want to go to a party, whatever it is. But like, I've never had that ability. So we had my daughter, we've never had that ability to do that. My wife's mom is not crazy far away, but still too far away where we can do that. And plus she's got issues to where, heart issues or whatever. And so like, it'd be very, it's one of those things that can only happen every once in a while. So we've literally never had the luxury of what a lot of people have, which is being able to drop your child off with a family member to be able to go, on a date night or whatever. Like, we've had like 2 date nights since my daughter was born. And because we don't have the ability, because honestly, where we live now, I'm from North Carolina. She lived in North Carolina for a number of years before we moved out. So like, we've met some people here, but it's hard to trust people these days with your child. We have a few, but we can't bombard the people that we do know here constantly with that. But anyways, it's just I appreciate the ability of that, like, and what that means. Your child would be able to experience their grandparents in that intimate way of what it must be like to have them living with you in your household. I think that'd be really cool. That'd be really, really cool.
And then there's the terminology, the titles that we use to describe a particular family member. And I don't just mean the word plonker. No, I'm talking about the American mom versus the British mum, or pops versus my old man.
Where does mum come from? Like, I've tried to figure that out before. I know that's a British way of saying mom, but it's like pops. Wait, hold on. Pops, mom versus I don't use the word pops. My old man. I don't use either of those, but I guess he's saying my old man is. Anyways.
Whereas both Britain and America might refer to their younger sibling as younger brother or younger sister,
Yeah.
Americans might occasionally refer to that person as their kid brother or kid sister. In Britain, as with the US, you might hear your parent's parental figure be described as granddad, grandfather, or grandpa. But one word that I heard in the Midwest, and I gather is used in the South, is papaw, or variants on that theme. Similarly, in the UK, while we might refer to our parents' maternal figure as grandma, grandmother, nana, nan,
Nan.
in the US you've got one or two other phrases. You've got Grammy, like the award. You've got grandma, grandmom, grams, and presumably in cahoots with papaw, you have mamaw.
That's what my daughter calls my wife's mom, mama, and she calls my mom Gram Pam. My mom's name is Pam, and so calls her Gram Pam. it's funny, but yeah.
And that is it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below if your family has its own quirks. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. A big thank you to my patrons who helped talk this video through with me. If you would like to support Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/LostInThePond. Until the next video, goodbye.
All right, guys. I thought that was interesting. I can't say that, there were a bunch of surprises in this video about the differences between British and American families. I think in most ways we're fairly similar. I think, a lot of us have British ancestry, and so it makes sense that a lot of the cultures would be kind of intertwined in a way. But there are definitely differences. One thing that sticks out, I've always wondered, I just mentioned it a second ago, and I'd like you guys to chime in the comments if you don't mind. Where does the term mum, M-U-M, come from when it comes to mom? Is it just because, is it like something about, how a lot of words, if someone, a group of people have a certain accent that makes something sound a certain way, eventually that word, the way they've made it sound, the accents made it sound, it actually changes the spelling of the word. So I'm wondering if there's something about the fact that you guys maybe were originally using the term mom, and then because of accents, it sounded like mum. So over time, it just literally changed the spelling of the word, or maybe mum was first and we used the term mom, or maybe you guys use mom in the UK as well. I'm not really sure, but I am curious about that because that's something, I think everybody knows the term mum as a British way of saying, mom or mother. So it's something that I think we all know of, but I think a lot of us in America probably don't know the origination of the word. But please let me know in the comments, guys, if you know where that mum originally comes from. But I called my mom's mom Nanny. Yeah, I know. You guys say Nana or Nan, I think. And we do as well. We say Nana. I think some people do, but I've never heard the term Nan before. But I used Nanny. I called her husband, my grandpa, I called him Papa. I called my dad's parents Grandma and Grandpa with my last name, which I'm not going to mention that right now. Yeah, that was pretty much it about that. I think for the most part in the Midwest where he's at and where I'm currently at, they do use papa and mama. Down south where I'm from is usually, grandma, grandpa, nanny, papa, that type of thing. I've never really heard many people use the term granddad. I'm sure that exists, or grandpop. I think that's something that's more up north, if I'm not mistaken. But as for the other stuff, I do believe, like I said, I already covered this, but I do believe that we definitely put more emphasis. Well, I don't want to say more emphasis, but from what it seems like I've learned over time on this journey, especially in comments and whatnot, it does seem like we put more emphasis on extracurricular activities, sports and whatnot. We get more excited, I think, about our children's sports and whatnot. It's something we take very seriously. Not to the point of like over seriously, like, you know, you're pushing them to win too much, and like it's just really fun. It's fun seeing your kids get out there and play, you know. But you know, parties and whatnot, I went through these, so I don't really need to talk about it again. But please, guys, let me know what you thought about this list. Let me know if you think he was accurate on this list, and what you would have to add to this list. What are some of the differences that you know of between British and American families? Let me know in the comments, guys. But I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.